What skills become suspicious if you are too good at it?
Story 1. I have a slightly scary degree of awareness of my personal space because I spent my childhood dodging the subtle attacks of an abusive stepmother. At a party when I was 18, I was leaning against a table, in deep conversation with a friend, when someone I knew less well reached behind me to grab a bottle of alcohol. Without thinking or looking behind me, I reached back and grabbed his wrist. I think that freaked him out quite a bit because instead of asking me to let go so he could get his drink, he said, "Wow, how does anyone get close to you?" My automatic response was, "They don't." I should have said, "They don't, unless I want them to." But I don't think my subconscious was really thinking about the harmless guy I had grabbed. I think I was in a permanent state of trying to defend myself against my stepmother, who wasn't even living in the same state. Story 2. Back in my brief college years, I was also part of the rave scene in my city, and trip pants with extra chains were the street fashion. I would wear an extra 30 to 40 pounds of chain and learn how to step with such a level of finesse at normal walking speed that I barely made any noise at all. I made so little noise that I could hear people I passed by whisper about it. It turns out people get very upset when you walk so softly that you can sneak up on them without even trying. I got yelled at so often that I had to reteach myself how to take heavy steps just so I would stop surprising people. Story 3. Not suspicious. But people definitely consider it weird, but just knowing things. I have autism, so research mode is like a hobby for me. I mainly research science-related stuff for hours, for fun. Often people will talk about things and not know something, but I know it. My coworkers call me the psychopath because of it. Basically, I have a massive interest in chemistry, biology, and physics, and they don't understand that you can learn pretty crazy things in the old books for these 3 topics we have in my country. From making thermite and similar things like napalm to understanding how much pain a human body can handle under the influence of adrenaline. Sometimes I use this knowledge to scare them for fun. It's always hilarious to see the look on their faces and the slight panic in their voices when they tell me, "Don't do that, please." Story 4. Quietly disappearing is my thing. I was known as the disappearing kid because I'm quiet, never have anything interesting to say, and I have ADHD. When I'm with someone or a group and see something interesting, I leave, and no one notices until a couple of minutes later that I'm gone. Then they wonder where I am, turn around, and bam, I'm back as if I was always there. The last time this happened was at my little brother's graduation party. I was sitting with my best friend. Both our little brothers were graduating, and he turned around to talk with his girlfriend. I then saw someone I knew from when I went to that school and went to say hello to them. After our conversation, I walked back to my seat, where my friend turned around, saw me, and not word for word said, "Whoa, you always do this." I turned back and you're gone, and I turned back again, and here you are. Story 5. My coworkers were speaking in another language, and I had no idea what they were talking about. Suddenly, one asked for a napkin, so I passed it over. The 2 stared at me with their mouths open. They asked me if I understood. "Yes." "You speak German?" "What?" "No." I told them it probably sounds similar in English. They said it again. It did not sound anything similar. My only guess now is they made a gesture I understood. Story 6. Mine is being able to see if a color is not right, or if something needs to be adjusted by a few pixels on a digital product. ADHD is a hell of a chemical imbalance. I was working on a graphic design project for college and showed my dad, who said it looked good. However, I was able to point out a region on the design I made and said it needed to be raised by 5 pixels or so because it didn't line up with the rest of the vehicle body lines. I did so, and my dad was amazed at how that tiny of a change made a huge difference in the presentation of the vehicle in the ad I was making. Story 7. My first impressions of people tend to be scarily accurate. When I say first impression, I mean their reactions, their body language, their facial expressions, or they open their mouth and say one thing to either me or someone else, and I have a pretty solid impression of what they're going to be like and how they'll perform in a given context. I used to think I was too quick to judge, but my accurate predictions of the boy in middle/high school every girl had a crush on whom I mentally labeled sleazeball the second I saw him, and he went on to break multiple people's hearts and drag several into a myriad of bad decisions, and 3 to 5 coworkers I could tell on the first day/first intro line wouldn't survive the job, and they didn't. A couple of them were even fired, which we rarely do, have kinda boosted my confidence. I still tried to keep my eyes out for other info past the first impression, but my vibe check tends to be very strong. Story 8. As a theme park cleaning person, I'd rather clean blood than any other body fluid. You develop a hard stomach to these sights, but not the smell. I've also gotten good at picking out birthday buttons in a crowd. Different celebration buttons have different colors. Blue equals birthday, purple equals marriage/anniversary, green equals general celebration. Congratulating people on their birthdays from across the walkway by just seeing the button color can be a superpower. Story 9. As a 21-year-old male, handling younger kids at the daycare, where I worked for an internship from school, is definitely on the list. Kids always loved it when I came over after the internship, and I was always able to help them, silence them, and practically could tell them to jump out a window, and they would just listen and do it without hesitation. Their parents definitely had many talks with me about it being weird, to which I said, "Sorry, I'm just being myself," and shrugged. Also a bonus point, due to being autistic, I tend to hyper-focus on something, so if a kid needed help, I could just forget everything else and go help them. Being a shy introvert also helped me remain calm regardless of circumstances, including an unannounced fire drill, during which I literally said, "Do not scream unless you're on fire, and get outside." And despite my colleagues struggling to also get the kids to not take stuff with them and go outside, as soon as I gave the order, they all just went. It felt surreal, to be honest. Outside, I also asked, "Are any of you on fire? If so, come here so I can use the garden hose." There was no actual fire, but stuff like that showed the kids I genuinely cared for them, which is probably why they enjoyed me as a caretaker so much. Story 10. Seeing chemistry between people has always been something for me. I just look at people, and I can tell whether it's totally platonic, one-sided, or if they like each other. I am friends with these people, O and L, and a while back I went to one of their parties and was speaking to their mom and told her that O and L were going to get together. Nobody believed me until 3 months later when they finally admitted to themselves that they liked each other. I also have hyperfast reflexes and block most things from getting near me, even if it's something like a hug. I bat it away if I see it for even a millisecond in the corner of my eye. Or even if I can't see it and just sense it happening. Story 11. Passing standardized tests. I had mediocre grades, but my scores on the tests were among the highest, and I was accused of cheating. They literally taught us how to logic through the questions and understand the people who created the tests. I didn't need the actual answer to find the answer. Story 12. I tested my reading level in 3rd grade. It's mandatory in Las Vegas every year to test, and I scored a 12th grade reading level. I checked out library books every day and would return them just as fast, but the librarian argued with me about taking out a 12th grade book until she looked me up. Her face was priceless. Other kids in my class were angry that I was allowed to take out twice as many books as them. The librarian said it was the only way she got any peace from me. Story 13. I have an audio processing disorder, so I'm hard of hearing in loud environments, but can hear whispers across the room when it's quiet. People then accuse me of faking not being able to hear. It is like a disadvantage and a superpower at the same time. Story 14. My weird skill is just being really quiet wherever I go, and it's not even on purpose. I could walk up to my old manager and scare her by accident because she didn't hear me coming at all. I think it came from being tormented in school. I just learned not to make noise, so I drew less attention to myself. You don't know how many times I accidentally scared people at school when waiting for the toilet to be free, or accidentally scared my mom when walking into the kitchen. Story 15. I am uncannily good at remembering the last place I saw that thing you're looking for. Phone, keys, razor, toys. A friend will say they're looking for it, and I will just say, "It's on that specific corner of that thing in that particular room." They'll walk in there going, "But I looked in there." Then come out a few seconds later like, "How the hell did you know that?" And I just shrug.